He wants to have another good season here in the Winter Championships. In the bottom right side, though, we are looking at the main base of the man who often kind of feels like the European Zerg when these two go up against each other, because he just wants to play a normal straight-up game. It's Dragon, Kaizi Gaming, Dark.
And in the top left-hand side, his opponent who barely shook his hand, it's Solar.
When these two play ZVZ, it really does feel that Solar goes full Korean ZVZ, where a lot of things don't make sense, but because their execution is so damn good, and they are obviously able to get so much value out of just a couple of links, finding the best Baylink connections, keeping their opponent in the dark, no pun intended, that's where Solar shines, and Dark is like, hey man.
Shines. I see what you're doing. You're throwing puns all over and you're saying no pun intended.
Yeah, no, it really wasn't on purpose. But and Dark is more like, hey man, can we just play like somewhat of a normal ZVZ, make a couple links, then we go into lair tag, we both get roaches, +1 missile attacks, 55 plus drones, and from there on out we can battle. And then Solar's like, yeah, that sounds really fun, but what if I cancel my lair and I all in you, know? That's often the vibe that I have when I watch these two go up against each other. I love it. I really think it's always kind of 50-50. I have no idea who's gonna get out on top today.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, Solar went for the 15 hatch here of the gas cancel, earlier popularized by North American players and then adopted by the Europeans. Solar has always actually had the in with the European Zergs, right? But
it's been the bridge between Korea
exactly,
and
a lot of the time, yeah. So he does have a little bit of that as well, but yeah, he plays on the crazier end of things. So we'll see here as Dark opened with a 16 hatch, pretty standard stuff.
Yep, they did mention obviously that GSL Code has semifinals recently, where I thought it was going to be close and actually kind of favored Dark a little. Wake up, like bam, Solar 3-0. I'm like, okay, Solar. And a lot of people are like, yeah, but that's not surprising at all. Solar is the best ZVZ player in the world because he beat Zero a couple times as well, and he's just amazing at it. And yes, he is, but it never really looks that reliable. Obviously, it's impressive that he keeps on coming up with these timing attacks, often off hatchery tech, with roaches, lings, ravages, sometimes a couple Baylings in the mix as well, and he keeps on making it work, but it always feels that you can't keep on getting away with this Solar.
Yeah. Absolutely. He did beat Cyril 3 times in a row, which I don't know who else has ever done. But even then, if you look at Aligulak, he's not favored against Cyril still, but he has like 43% chance to win, which is higher than anyone else. And these two, when they match up against each other, they're pretty close to 50-50 themselves. So we'll see what happens here.
Look at this, man. We're not even 2 minutes and 50 seconds into the game here on Side Delta, and both of them have already fired up their lair. So both of them canceled Zergling speed, went for the quickest lair possible, and whatever they seem to be cooking the same meal. I guess we are going to drop a Roach War and get +1 missile attacks going. Small chance that one of them wants to go for that super quick Spire. Yeah. But I'd be very surprised if both of them would go Spire.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, it would be the player that kind of fakes it least or gets the read faster that's going to get ahead, right? The Roach War is not even dropped on the side of... Now it's dropped on the side of Solar. But Dark hasn't really dropped anything at his wall, right? So he is more likely, and now he takes all the gases, so he is far more likely to go into very fast Muta, and I think he has a great advantage here, because I don't think that Solar can punish this very easily.
Well, no, I don't think Solar can, but Solar is the one who actually drops the Spire first, and Dark just says, all right, mate, 2 base Spire, 3 minutes and 40 seconds. I mean, Cats, this is right up your alley.
I mean, this is absolutely crazy. I know you like to bring that up all the time.
Cats is the only guy. I have played StarCraft 2 for 13 years, but only one man ever went for the 1 base Spire against me, and that was Cats on Catalina.
Yeah,
3 mutas flew into my base. Yeah. I was like, oh no, what am I going to do?
I did that same thing to Snoot as well, Catalina, Red Bull Battlegrounds. Look it up, it was good. But yeah, I mean, like I was saying, I mean, the cool thing about this Spire here, or both of the Spires, is that one of them is going for the Roaches, the other one isn't, right? So on paper, at least, Dark should have a little bit more gas to spare. He should get ahead in terms of the Spire and whatnot, whereas Solar is investing into the Roach potential transition. So that shouldn't favor him on paper, but you never know. It kind of depends on the level of commitment that both players go for.
Would it be better for Solar to play Roach Corruptor here?
Yes.
I actually think that would be better, but I don't think he can ever make that call, right?
It's very difficult, but now, I mean, Dark is looking for the information here. The Queens are gonna shoo away the Overseer for the time being. He sees the third as well. He knows about the entrance. He knows about both of the upgrades. He actually morphs the Overseer or posts it up to get a little bit further vision, which is pretty cute.
I mean, this feels just so rough for Solar. I know it's not the biggest map, so maybe there is a world where he can create a bit of a creep highway and run Queens, Roaches, and Mutas to the other side of the map. But how do you win a Muta war if you're also spending your gas on Roaches and on missile attacks, while Dark can just get the value out of those fast links that run around the map? I mean, Solar can't possibly be happy with how this is shaping up on paper, but maybe there is a chance that he can just grab everything, rally to the other side of the map, and get the job done.
Yeah, but things get worse for him as his Muta gets spotted, and Dark hasn't really revealed his Muta. Of course, there's Zerglings and there's no Roach Warrant, so Solar knows that something's up. This is the right thing for Solar to do, though, is to move the Roaches and try to make something happen, some chaos happen. Maybe have an engagement of the Muta versus the Muta somewhere else, and have the Roaches kind of defeat the Lynx on the ground and make something happen on the other side.
As Njal is showing us as well, Solar is going into Corruptus now. So he did like the idea of Corruptus. He just initially he did not know what Dark was doing. And he's like, wait a minute, you're playing Mutas too? And you went Mutas with Zerglings? Like, oh no, I can't possibly beat Muta Ling with Roach Muta. So now he's going to try to reinforce his push with a couple of Corruptus. The only problem is though that that's not something that you can really drag out, right? I kind of feel that Solar is going to gear up for one big powerful attack with Roaches, Corruptus, the Mutalisks that are left over, then maybe a couple of Queens, because I don't think you can just defend with Corruptus. Like, that shouldn't really be a thing.
It's a little bit difficult because the Muta can definitely skirt around and get more value out of themselves, but if the Corruptors are in position, it's difficult, right? Because there's no Overlords out on the map because the Muta pick them off. So your Corruptors kind of have to be guessing or be in very neutral positions. This is really nice for Solar, though. Dark knows that he has more Muta, so why would he ever make Spores? So he finds the opening here, and 5 Muta actually one-shot drones, so this is amazing for Solar, who is very happy to trade this Muta, and on top of that, it's gonna pull the Muta of Dark 100% back. So this was a beautiful maneuver.
Yeah, actually splits one Muta off, goes back. Hey, Kat,
so good.
That's your Muta, the one Muta arrest. As we have a couple of Lynx running into the natural, and this is obviously going to be big because the Roaches are gonna have a hard time being in all the correct places. One of the Queens goes down. Come on, Dark, use those Zerglings then in the main base. That's what you're supposed to do. As he grabs 4 drones initially, and even though Solar got good damage done with just a couple of Mutalisks, I'm afraid that this is still not really going Solar's way, because he's just gonna have such a hard time keeping all his drones safe across 3 bases.
Yeah, the problem is he's still losing them as well, right? At some point, I mean, the Corruptors, if you can overpower the Muta, you can go and start shredding the hatcheries as well with the corrosive acid or whatever that thing is called. But yeah, I mean, as of now, he's just on defense mode. At some point, like you said, he's gonna have to gather all of his forces and be like, you can't actually deal with my army in a straight up fight, so let's go. And then maybe Dark has to opt for something like a base race. And the moment might be now.
Yeah, Caustic Spray, I believe it is, right?
Caustic Spray.
That's so many Mutalisks though, by the way. Let me take a quick look at the Muta numbers against the Corruptors numbers, man. 12 Corruptors is just not enough, cats. I know Corruptors are tanky boys, and I know they're supposed to survive for a little while. Maybe with Queen support, I would believe. But I do not believe that 13 Corruptors can win the fight against 27 Mutalisks that have +1 flyer attacks as well. Dark doesn't really believe in that either, so he's just going to go ahead and take this fight. And he's obviously going to lose a couple of Mutas, but he's already taken out some Corruptors. He's going to turn around now because he wants to make sure that he doesn't lose all of his drones against these Roaches. And this is maybe where Dark would have really loved to have a few more Lynx out on the map, right? Because the Mutas have to choose, what do we kill, the Roaches or the Corruptors?
Exactly, that is the tough thing. This army has so much HP on the side of Solar, so what he's doing is very smart. He's kiting away from the Roaches with the Corruptors. He says, if you wanna kill my Corruptors, you gotta let my Roaches do their damage. If you wanna kill my Roaches, my Corruptors do outrange your Muta, so I can actually get pot shots here and there. And I mean, 22 workers have fallen, Roddy. The Spire will also fall. This is not looking too bad for Solar.
No, it's not looking too hot for Dark at all. Now, what I'm still worried about Solar is maybe the devastating counter, right? Because look at the amount of Mutalisks. I don't think we have any Spore Crawlers. Let's go ahead and take a look. Did we build any Spore Crawlers? No. So the only anti-air he's going to have are the Corruptors that he sent home, the Corruptors that he's rebuilding right now, and that single Queen. Is that enough to deal with this many Mutalisks? Like, Solar did a tremendous amount of damage there, and I still don't think it was good enough for Solar.
Yeah, I agree. There's no real transition, right? It would have been beautiful if he could have snuck in something like an Infestation Pit, get an Infestor out or something like that to give himself somewhat of a shot. But as it stands, Dark is here already. There's not going to be any time, and Solar is going to have to tap out. Hectic game, cool game, but yeah, I liked it.
27 Mutalisk. Pretty damn good. I gotta say, I really love the way that Solar split up his units there in the end. Made it hard for Dark to figure out what he should battle. Should he go for the roaches? But also love how Dark handled it. He's like, okay, I cannot defend all 3 bases at once right now. Let me just go ahead and transfer a couple of the drones towards the 3rd base. And if you're here with your roaches, I'm going to kill them. If the Corruptors want to get in range, I'll kill them too. The only thing I do wonder about is that that went on for a while. It's like, Solar, why don't we have a couple of Spore Crawlers, right? Like, he was so all in, but then he was still like cranking out a couple of units at home. And I felt that we should have at least been able to get 1 or 2 spores, but he probably felt that that's useless because then Dark will just not fight where those Spore Crawlers are. And he's like, yeah, if I build spores in the natural, he's going to attack the 3rd. If I build them in the 3rd, he's going to run into my natural or my main base. So I guess it was just not playable for Solar.
Yeah, no, at that point, I mean, you have to forgo the 3rd for sure, right? You just say, I'm going to stay on 2 base and hope that I did enough economic damage and play it from there.
And that honestly wouldn't be the worst call, because you mentioned that Infestation Pit, of course it takes a while for that to get online and then you have to get the Infestors out. But stabilizing on 2 bases with Corruptors, 2 Spores and a couple Cranes, absolutely doable. And don't forget that he dropped Dark into like the 20s when it came to the drone count. We had 23 or 24 drones left. On top of that, he killed the Spire. That was the only real powerful unit that Dark could build besides the Zergling. So maybe that would have actually been a really sick call, Cats, to sacrifice the 3rd and try to stabilize on 2 bases with the 48 drones or whatever he had.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it would have netted him much, but it would have he definitely wouldn't have died right away at least. So I think we're definitely onto something there. But yeah, Solar choosing to continue to try to make units, and I mean, maybe if he passed that threshold with Corruptors and Colts against the Muta, he outright wins the game right there and there. Maybe he thought he had a little bit more time. Who knows? But here we are now on Oceanborn, and in the bottom right-hand side, leading the series for Dragon Kaisi Gaming, it's Dark.
And in the top left side of Oceanborn, we're looking at the main base of the man who I know has a lot of support here in Atlanta, because I've seen plenty of on-site t-shirts and hoodies representing on-site gaming. It's Solar. I like those colors too. I love the green stuff, and I love the pink as well.
Yeah, no doubt.
Very bizarre first game. Side Delta, one of the smaller maps I kind of feel like that we currently have in our map pool. To see both of them go up to a lair 2 minutes and 40 seconds into the game. Neither of them having Zergling speed. Both of them dropping the Spire, but Dark playing it to the extreme, where he just says, all right, we're going to play Muta Ling, mate. And Solar probably thought he was being cheeky. He's like, all right, that's a really quick Spire. And I'm also going to have some roaches to make sure that I don't die. And Dark is like, well, if you think that's cheeky, mate, I can outdo you.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, that's exactly what it was, right? It was cheeky against cheekier, because, I mean, yeah, there's... on one end, you're being super greedy. If you think you're Solar, you're getting away with it, but Dark is one step ahead of you somehow. I mean, he just had the right read from the
It's a really bad feeling where you're like, oh my goodness, it's kind of working. Like, I'm not dead yet. Spire's coming online. I'm going up to 3 bases. This is looking really good. And the Dark's like, yeah, it is for me.
That's exactly what happened there. But yeah, let's see what this game has in store for us. It's gonna be a pool finishing here on the side of Dark, so nothing out of the ordinary, I want to say, for the time being. It's normal. 2 queens on either side here. What do you think? Do you think Solar is going to be the one to try to outdo Dark here, to punish him perhaps for his cheekiness, or?
It's a good question. I would love to see Solar just maybe get some Zergling speed, go up to 3 bases, and then make it so hard. Because every Zerg on the planet is worried about Solar. When things look normal, he's got a regular 3 base setup, and then suddenly he hits you with something that doesn't make any sense. Even if you scout the lair, Solar's the kind of guy to just cancel his lair. As soon as your Zergling gets picked off, it's like, all right, we're going to cancel it, and we're going to all out on the Roach, Ling, Bane. He's so good with these attacks. I feel like he always finds the right angle, finds max value out of whatever he's trying to do. And we do have a Zergling speed on the production tab for Solar. There's obviously a world where you could cancel it and fire up a lair as soon as this queen comes out, but I don't think that is going to be the case. But what I do find weird is, like, if we have Zergling speed on the way, why don't we go up to 3 bases, Cats?
Well, I guess on the side of Dark, you're saying?
No, on the side of Solar. because he's still on 2 bases, but he's getting circling speed.
But he made 4 queens as well, so I think this is a fake of some kind. If he can show all 4 queens at the front or something like that and fake gasless and then flood with links is probably what he's looking to do.
And Dark has no link speed, don't forget about that. Now we've got the Roach Warren going down as well on the side of Solar, so it is safe to say that he's going to be a very cheeky boy. And Dark is pretty much as greedy as he was in the previous game. We have no link speed, obviously no Baneling Nest. He is going to drop the Roach Warren now, but going up to 3 bases versus 2 base Solar and firing up a lair against the Solar that's all-inning you. Is Dark just kind of dead here, Cats?
I think so. I mean, it's going to be 16 circlings now. He's a little bit more willing to show them at the front. The Queen is going to make a little bit more room as well at the front. Now the links are moving out, so Solar will see them. I'm surprised that he shows a smaller pocket of links here, but as long as they get there in time to make room for the rest of them, it should be fine. The third at least should be 100% dead.
He wants
but
more.
Can he actually get the kill? Yeah.
I think he wants more. Well, he's going to go for the 3rd base at first, and Dark is just going to go ahead and sacrifice it. I do really think that Solar needs a little bit more, because Solar's own 3rd base is not that much quicker. It's like, okay, you killed this one, awesome, but then you take a look at your own 3rd, only 40% done. Dark could, do something like this, drop a Spire. He could have technically gone for like Roach's Nidus as well, because he has a very big lead on +1 missile attacks, and Roaches with +1 are excellent against Zerglings. So it's like, okay, Solar, you get the kill, but do we love Solar's position? But how late that lair is, I don't know if I'm in love with it.
Yeah, I mean, normally I'd be pretty hesitant to say that I love it, but he did keep, for example, the Evo Chamber. He did keep the Roach Warren in place, so it was kind of like a semi-fake. He didn't make that many circlings either.
Yeah, that's true.
And he trapped Dark inside his own base with the Evo Chamber. So there's a few things going for him, but for sure, I mean, you're right. Dark's not without options here, right? Like, he has a very fast Spire still on 2 base, which is something to work with.
Yep, and don't forget that he's got a whole bunch of Roaches as well that are going to have +1 missile attacks way quicker than Solar's Roaches have access to that. And then on top of that, the Zerglings of Solar are just not going to be very useful. So Dark actually dropping a Spine there. He's misreading this a little bit.
Yeah.
It seems that Dark feels there is another wave of Solar aggression coming, which is kind of funny, right? Because he's working in his own Evo Chamber. He's like, I want to break out. Just kidding. This is very weird. I don't know if Dark...
It's the Queens.
Dark must have seen something that's
I think he hasn't seen anything is the problem. Like, the Queens have done such a great job of zoning out that Dark doesn't have vision around the perimeter of Solar's base. So the fact that he doesn't see anything coming is, I think, what scares him.
Yep, he thought there was a whole lot more where that initial wave of Zerglings came from. The Lynx do get another cancer though on the 3rd base. Want to get the drone as well, won't quite get the drone. Hydra then is done for Solar.
Oh!
As a lot of these Lynx are going to run in, and the Roaches are going to be a bit out of position. Queens are here, but Queens are not quite on creep, I thought. But apparently enough energy to drop a Transfuse. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to see right near the ramp.
With the snow as well.
Yeah, the creep disappears a little bit. But apparently we were able to buy a little bit of extra time for ourselves and use some of that energy on Transfuse. Overall, though, Solar's going to be feeling pretty good about himself, except for the fact that he is forced to build Hydras, Cats. And all the pro Zergs say that if you're ever forced to build Hydras, you're already losing.
Yeah, but Hydras have gotten a little bit better, and one of the tougher things to build Hydras against Muta is securing that 3rd base, which already Solar has done fantastically. He already has the economic lead for himself. So I think he's in a very comfortable position to even add just an Infestation Pit, get a couple of Infestors without Pathogen Glands. You don't need that anymore. Move out and crush it. Otherwise, you can also move out with just Hydra Roach, and that's perfectly fine. And you risk, running into potentially like a Baneling switch of massive proportions of some kind.
Yeah.
So I would like the Infestation Pit, but I think Solar's in a very good spot.
Well, Dark never got Zergling speed, right? So it's very unlikely that he wants to play Muta Link lane, and he had that very quick +1 missile attacks. What I'm kind of worried about for Solar is that he goes very heavy on the Roach Hydra, but pure Ravager, and Dark is so damn good with the Ravagers. Ravagers are just better than pure Roach Hydra, because the Roaches and Hydras are forced to split and run back over and over again. But whenever you're doing that and you think you're doing a good job in avoiding the bows, and even if you are doing a good job, it doesn't matter because your units are running. And units that run don't shoot. While Dark is Roaches and Ravagers, and that's clearly what Dark is pumping out, will be firing all the time at all cylinders. Like, I'm concerned for Solar, even though I felt like it should have been looking very good for Solar. I'm legitimately a bit concerned because Dark is Ravagers, I think, are going to pack a proper punch.
Yeah, but Solar is hitting a pretty good timing here as well, so we'll see if Dark has time to prepare enough Ravagers. At the moment, he only has 4. He's holding one of the better chokes that he can hold for the time being, but Solar's not going to give him that choke. Instead, he's going to go around and look for the wider ramp to go up.
Look at the
So-
army supply. That was 104 against 108, and I know a couple of it is still in the Mutalisk, and the Mutalisk are not going to be very useful here, but I think Solar's going to have a hard time against these Ravagers.
Still about to finish.
Like, this is exactly what you always look at. Like, these units are just running, they are not firing, and indeed, +2 missile attacks is about to kick in for our man from Dragon Kaisi Gaming as well.
Yep, very good with the Biles as well is Dark, just firing one at a time and in different spots because he wants to do exactly what you're talking about. He just wants the units to move. He's not looking to catch the units actually with the Biles. He's just looking to force them out of position so that they lose out on the DPS. However, Solar does get a pretty good concave here, and this is the ideal situation with Hydra-based compositions. Is that gonna be enough? It's a very close fight, but the Roaches are encroaching on faster onto the Ravagers. They pick them off, and Dark is going to hold.
Yep, and don't forget, this is where the Mutalisk can shine again, because the Mutas are a little bit quicker than these Roaches of Solar, so you can get on top of them, and this is another game where, yeah, the Hydras didn't quite shine, and Solar is now in all sorts of trouble. Down 27 supply, down a full upgrade, and Dark even has +1 carapace halfway done already. I mean, I honestly think that Dark has done it. The power of the Ravager on full display over here.
Yeah, I mean, it looks beautiful too. He made 5 Muta at first, then that in another 3 or so. I'm not sure where he got the money to do that while still going for the Ravagers. And Dark with a majestic hold. I mean, and I was even saying Infestors, that would have even just made things worse for Solar, right? Like if he actually hadn't prepared for the Ravagers. So Dark just putting on a masterclass of what he can do defensively here against this sort of counter-attack unit composition.
Yep, and Solar just seems omega stuck at the moment at the Roaches, and he's still making so many Hydras, which I'm very confused by, because I thought that we didn't love the Hydra in these kinds of CVC games. And I mean, sure, we got the Lurker then, and we have resources to fire up a Hive. I'm like, all right, you know, if we can get some Hive tech Lurkers, I see what we are going to do, but I don't know if he's still worried about the Mutas, but after the previous fight, Solar, it's not the Mutas that are your problem. It's all the Roaches and the Hydras that are knocking on your front door right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be both, right? The Muta are still there, so it's tough. You got to deal with them some way, somehow, but you can't deal with both. You can't deal with either at this point, it feels like. And now Dark in a position to just close out the game. He has the chokes that he wants to make those Biles extra effective here, and Solar is completely trapped. He is about to give up, Roddy. This game, this series is Dark's. Magic has happened, dark magic has happened, and the sun don't shine here.
We've had Clem and Cure in the quarterfinals. We had Cyril joining in the quarterfinals as well, and the last player that gets a day off tomorrow and can come back on Sunday.